Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you work, no matter how many hours you put in, you're still not getting ahead? Maybe you wake up early, you stay busy all day, you try to do everything right, but somehow, the results don't match the effort. If that sounds familiar, I want you to pause for a moment and consider this idea. What if the problem is not how much time you spend, but what you spend it on? Because the truth is, and this might surprise you, rich people don't think about time the way most people do. They don't measure their day in hours. They don't focus on being busy. And they definitely don't trade time for money in the same way. Instead, they focus on something else. They focus on value. In this video, we're going to explore a powerful shift in thinking. Why rich people focus on value, not time. And how this single mindset change can completely transform your life. This is not about working harder. This is not about becoming obsessed with money. This is about learning how to think differently, in a way that actually leads to real, lasting results. Part 1. The Trap of Trading Time for Money. Most people grow up believing a very simple idea. If you want more money, you need to work more hours. It sounds logical, it feels fair, and in the beginning, it even works. You go to school, you get a job, you show up on time, and you get paid for the hours you give. Hour by hour, day by day, year after year. But here's the problem. This system has a hidden limit. There are only 24 hours in a day. No matter how hardworking you are, no matter how disciplined you become, you cannot go beyond that limit. And this creates an invisible ceiling. You can work 8 hours, maybe 10, maybe 12. But eventually, your energy runs out. Your focus drops. Your health starts to feel the pressure. And even if you push harder, you are still trading something very valuable. Your time, for money that is always limited. Now think about this carefully. If your income depends on your time, what happens when you stop working? When you get sick? When you take a break? When you simply want to rest? The income stops too. This is the trap. It's not obvious at first. In fact, it feels normal, because everyone around you is doing the same thing. But over time, something starts to feel wrong. You may notice that. Some people work fewer hours, but earn more. Some people seem less busy, but achieve bigger results. Some people build wealth, while others stay stuck in effort. And that's when a quiet question begins to appear. What am I missing? The answer is simple, but not easy to accept. You've been taught to value time, while wealthy people are trained to value impact. They don't ask, how many hours will this take? They ask, how much value does this create? Because in the real world, money doesn't follow time. Money follows value. A single idea, a single decision, a single solution to the right problem can be worth more than thousands of hours of effort. And once you truly understand this, you begin to see your life differently. You stop trying to fill your day with tasks. You start asking a better question. What can I do today that actually matters? This is the first shift. It's uncomfortable because it challenges everything you've been taught. But it's also powerful Because the moment you stop measuring your worth by time, you open the door to something much bigger. Part 2. Value is not about effort. It's about impact. One of the biggest misunderstandings people have is this: if I work harder, I should earn more. It feels fair. It feels reasonable. But in reality, it's not how the world works. Because effort and value are not the same thing. You can spend hours doing something. You can feel exhausted at the end of the day and still create very little value. At the same time, someone else can make one smart decision, send one email, build one system, and create results that multiply far beyond their time. So what makes the difference? Impact. Value is not measured by how tired you are. It's measured by how much difference your action makes. Let's slow down and really think about this. Imagine two people. The first person works 10 hours a day doing repetitive tasks. The work is honest. The effort is real. But the impact is small and limited. The second person spends 2 hours solving a problem that affects thousands of people. Their work reaches further. It influences more lives. It creates more change. Now ask yourself, who creates more value? The answer is clear. And this is exactly how wealthy people think. They are not impressed by effort alone. They don't chase the feeling of being busy. Instead, they focus on questions like, does this scale? Does this solve a real problem? Can this help more people, not just one? Because the bigger the impact, the bigger the value. And the bigger the value, the greater the reward. This is why you'll often see something that feels unfair at first. Someone who works less, but earns more. It's not because they are lucky. It's not because they are smarter than everyone else. It's because they've learned to focus on leverage. Leverage means doing something once and allowing it to produce results again and again. A video, a book, a system, a business. These are all forms of leveraged value. You don't get paid just for the time you spend creating them. You get paid for the impact they continue to create over time. And this is where the real shift happens. Instead of asking, how much time will this take me? You begin asking, if I do this well, how far can it reach? That question changes everything. It changes how you choose your work. It changes how you spend your energy. It changes how you define progress. Because now you are no longer chasing hours. You are building something that matters. Something that lasts longer than your effort. Something that grows beyond your time. And once you start thinking this way, you can't go back. Part 3. Why rich people protect their time so aggressively. Once you understand that value matters more than time, something interesting begins to happen. Your relationship with time completely changes. For most people, time feels like something to fill, a schedule to complete, a list of tasks to check off. But for wealthy people, time is not something to fill. It's something to protect. And they protect it, almost aggressively. At first, this can look strange. They say no more often. They avoid unnecessary meetings. They don't respond to every message immediately. They don't try to be available all the time. Some people might even think they are distant or not hardworking enough. But the truth is very different. They are not avoiding work. They are avoiding low-value activity because they know something most people ignore. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you are saying no to something that could truly matter. Time is limited, not just in hours, but in energy, focus, and clarity. And high-value work requires all three. It requires deep thinking. It requires uninterrupted focus. It requires space to create something meaningful. You cannot do that if your day is constantly interrupted. You cannot do that if your attention is always scattered. So instead of trying to do more, wealthy people make a different decision. They do less, but better. They choose fewer tasks, but higher impact ones. They remove distractions, even if those distractions seem small. They build boundaries, even when it feels uncomfortable, because they understand a powerful truth. Not all time is equal. 1 hour of focused, meaningful work can be worth more than 10 hours of distraction. One clear decision can be more valuable than weeks of confusion. And this is why they guard their time so carefully. Not because they are busy, but because they know how valuable their attention really is. Now let's bring this closer to your life. Think about your typical day. How much of your time is spent on things that truly matter? Things that move your life forward? Things that create real value? And how much of it is spent on small tasks that feel urgent but change nothing? Endless scrolling, constant interruptions, work that keeps you busy but not better. This is not about judgment, it's about awareness, because once you see it clearly, you begin to realize something important. You don't need more time. You need better focus on what matters. And that's exactly what wealthy people have learned. They don't try to control every minute. They focus on protecting the moments that matter most. Those quiet, focused moments where real value is created. Part 4. Rich people don't do more. They choose better. Most people believe success comes from doing more. More tasks, more effort, more hustle, more hours. So they try to fill their day with activity. They stay busy. They stay occupied. They feel productive. But being busy is not the same as being effective. And this is where wealthy people think very differently. They don't focus on doing more. They focus on choosing better. Because at the highest level, success is not about how much you do. It's about what you choose to do. Let's slow this down. Every day you make decisions. Small ones and big ones. What to work on. What to ignore. What to start. What to delay. Most people make these decisions based on urgency, pressure, habit, or what others expect from them. But wealthy people ask a different question. Is this the best use of my time? Not, is this easy? Not, is this urgent? Not, is this comfortable? But, does this create real value? And if the answer is no, they are willing to walk away, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it means saying no, even if it means doing less today, because they understand something powerful. A few right decisions can outperform hundreds of average ones. Think about that. One right opportunity, one right skill, one right project can change your entire direction, while hundreds of small, low-impact actions can keep you stuck in the same place. This is why wealthy people spend more time thinking before acting. They don't rush into everything. They don't chase every opportunity. They pause. They evaluate. They ask, what is the long-term impact of this? Will this still matter in a year? Does this move me closer to where I want to be? And sometimes, the most powerful decision they make is to do nothing, to wait, to observe, to avoid the wrong path. Because choosing the wrong thing, even with great effort, can waste years of your life. Now let's bring this back to you. If you look at your current path, your daily actions, your priorities, ask yourself honestly, am I doing more or am I choosing better? Are you reacting to everything that comes your way? Or are you intentionally selecting what truly matters? This question is not easy, but it is necessary, because the moment you start choosing better, everything begins to change. Your time becomes more valuable. Your energy becomes more focused. Your progress becomes more real. And slowly, you stop feeling busy and start becoming effective. Part 5. Building systems that create value without your time. Up to this point, we've talked about thinking differently, choosing better, protecting your time. But now comes the real transformation. How do wealthy people earn, even when they are not working? The answer is simple in words, but powerful in practice. They build systems. A system is something that continues to produce value without requiring your constant time and attention. And this is where the biggest gap appears between most people and wealthy people. Most people work like this. They trade time for money. If they stop working, the income stops. But wealthy people aim for something different. They invest time once and get value again and again. Let's slow this down. Imagine you create something useful. A video that teaches a skill. A product that solves a problem. A process that improves efficiency. A business that runs on clear structure. At the beginning, it takes effort. You think, you build, you refine. But once it's done, it doesn't disappear. It keeps working. People can watch the video tomorrow, next month, next year. Customers can use the product again and again. The system continues to generate results. Even when you are resting, learning, or focusing on something new. This is what changes everything, because now your income is no longer limited by the number of hours you can work. Now your value can scale. One action, many results. One effort, repeated impact. One system, ongoing value. And this is why wealthy people spend less time doing tasks and more time building systems. They ask questions like, can this be automated? Can this be repeated without me? Can this grow without more time? Because they understand, time is limited, but systems can grow. Now let's be clear about something. This does not mean avoiding work. In fact, building systems often requires more effort at the beginning. It's harder than simple tasks. It requires thinking, patience, and learning. But the reward is very different. Instead of working forever for the same result, you create something that keeps working for you. And over time, this creates a powerful shift. You move from being busy to being productive, from being active all day to being effective over time, from chasing income to building value. Now ask yourself, am I only working or am I building something that lasts? Because if everything you do depends on your presence, you will always be limited. But if you start building systems, even small ones, you begin to break that limit. And once that happens, your time is no longer your ceiling. Part 6. How to start thinking in value, not time. By now, you've seen the pattern. Rich people don't chase hours. They don't measure their worth by how busy they are. They don't try to do everything. Instead, they focus on value, impact, leverage, and smart decisions. But here's the real question. How do you begin to think this way? Starting today. Because this mindset is powerful, but only if you apply it. Let's make it simple and practical. Not complicated, not overwhelming, just clear steps you can begin with. 1. Start asking better questions. Most people ask, what do I need to finish today? How many hours should I work? But from now on, try asking, what is the most valuable thing I can do today? Just one thing, not 10, not a long list. One action that actually moves your life forward. This small shift trains your brain to focus on impact instead of activity. 2. Reduce low-value work. Look at your daily routine. Be honest. There are things you do that feel productive, but don't really change anything. Small tasks, repeated distractions, things you do out of habit. You don't need to eliminate everything, but you do need to start noticing. Is this worth my time? Because every low-value activity you remove creates space for something better. 3. Focus on learning high-value skills. Not all skills are equal. Some skills only help you complete tasks, but others help you solve bigger problems, reach more people, create scalable results. Skills like communication, problem solving, creating content, understanding systems. These are value-based skills, and the more you develop them, the more your impact grows. 4. Think long-term, not just today. Time-based thinking is short-term. Finish this task. Get through today. Stay busy. But value-based thinking asks, will this matter in a year? If the answer is no, it may not deserve your best energy. Start putting more time into things that grow slowly, build over time, create lasting results, because real value compounds. 5. Be patient with the process. This is important. When you shift from time to value, results may not come immediately. At first, it might even feel slower. You're thinking more, choosing more carefully, doing fewer things. But over time, something changes. Your actions become sharper. Your results become stronger. Your progress becomes real. And eventually, you stop running in circles and start moving forward. Now take a moment, breathe, and think about this. You don't need more time to change your life. You need a better way to use it. The moment you stop chasing hours and start creating value, everything begins to shift. If this message gave you a new way to think, even just a small shift, then don't let it stop here. Take one idea from this video and apply it today. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. And if you want more videos like this, slow, clear, and meaningful, designed to help you improve your thinking and your English at the same time, consider subscribing to the channel, because this is not just about learning words. It's about understanding ideas that can truly change your life. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I'll see you in the next video.